が消えかかるそれがオーレンジャー熱い血流れる鋼のマシン
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 20 of For Your Eyes Ohranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Each week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listeners. My name is Matt J, and with me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today, bud?
Annoyingly cold, Matt.
Yeah, yes it is. I was just saying before we started recording that it is April 8th as we record this, and I am still having to worry about the sound of my furnace in the background as we're recording, because it is like 32 degrees.
Yeah, dude, okay. Like, normally, by the end of March, like, in like a lion, out like a lamb, that's fairly true in and around Cleveland. Normally, by the end of March, you're okay. Like, it might dip down into the 40s or whatever again, but generally speaking, you're okay. And it's been in like the 30s all friggin' week.
Yeah,
it's been real lame. At least it's been sunny, but
it is genuinely demoralizing.
Yeah, it's really taking the wind out of my sails. Actually, I'm trying to be chipper about it, but it really sucks.
Well, Dave, you know what we can be chipper about is that today we are watching episode 20 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. It is called The Iron Fist 100 Bursts, which is a great title,
nice.
And I love it. It kind of sounds like do you recall in the Matt Fraction,
Probably.
Ed Brubaker, David Aha Iron Fist run, every time Iron Fist did a cool thing, there'd be a little caption box telling you what the cool move was?
Oh, dude, Matt, not only do I remember it, you know who else remembers it, is whoever has kept writing Iron Fist after that, because that is a convention that they've kept.
Yeah.
Like, all the most recent
with...
Iron Fist, sorry. All the most recent Iron Fist stuff is just full, and I feel like that's probably the most fun part of writing that book.
Is getting to, like, make up the names.
Yeah.
Anyway, this definitely feels like one of those.
I've also been going back and reading a bunch of Shang-Chi.
The Master of Kung Fu?
They just got added to Marvel Unlimited, and those old Shang-Chi books are something else.
Yes, they are, my friend. Yes, they are. But you know what else is something else? Oh, wait, I already transitioned into the title of the episode.
You did. It's okay, though.
Anyway, Dave, but before we get into that, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
So our first star of the week, Matt, is Pururasu Sentai Ringuranger, which was our episode last week.
The beautiful dream.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys liked that as much as I did.
It was a joke. If we somehow fooled you the whole way through, this was an April Fool's gag. I almost didn't want to admit it on this week, but I did want to, like, talk about how much fun we had doing it.
Dude, it was so much fun. There was a very real part of me that sort of wanted to, not like, I'm having a lot of fun with Ohranger, don't get me wrong, but there was a part of me that kind of wanted to take a semi-indefinite hiatus and just see how many episodes of Ringuranger we could come up with.
Yeah, because the way that we did it, and oh, by the way, if you want to hear me talk about this more in depth,
I do.
There is an episode coming out this week of the Morphin Grid in which I joined Jake and Josh, and we talked about what Ringuranger would have looked like if it existed and became a Power Rangers show.
Yeah, I definitely want to think about that a lot, actually.
Yeah, so that is coming out, I believe. I think it would have come out yesterday by the time this episode drops.
Okay, it's already there for you.
So check that out.
If for some reason you're not already listening to the Morphin Grid.
Yeah. So. But the way that we did it is that Dave and I came up with all of the proper nouns, like all of the people and like a general premise for the show, and then we just sort of improv'd out like the beat by beat things of what the episode would be.
Yeah, well, we came up with, like you said, the name of the bad guy, and we came up with, Champion Drago. We came up with Champion Drago, and we came up with Power Slam Wolf, and then we also came up with the proper names of the 5 Rangers.
Yeah.
and I think everything else was basically improv. That was all off the top of our head. And it was a ton of fun. And the really weird thing was, you and I talked about it afterwards, is after having done our fake episode, I did have the feeling like we had just watched an episode of Puroresu Sentai Ringuranger. Like,
yeah, it really
it existed in a weird liminal space in my head that I didn't feel like I had made it up. I felt like I had watched it.
Yes, it is as though we had like constructed a false memory for ourselves. It was kind of weird, honestly.
It was a little, well, listen, man, when you have watched as much Sentai as we have, it all bleeds together a little bit.
It does, especially like when you watch the first episode of a season of Sentai, like they're not all the same exactly, but like there are certain beats, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say, because, you know, like you introduce everybody, like here are the Rangers, here's the deal, here's the theme, here's the bad guy, you know, there you go.
Right. But yeah, it was tons of fun. We hope that you liked it. Who knows, maybe we will find more episodes of that like on a VHS hidden in somebody's basement later on.
Matt, I feel fairly confident that at some point in the future we will stumble across another episode. I feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah, but that is the first star of the week. We hope you liked it.
Yeah. So what, Matt, is our second star of the week?
Dave, the second star of the week is that it's more wrestle stuff. This is the time of year that wrestling like overtakes my life fully for a couple of weeks, which may be why it was so front of mind last week when we were doing Puroresu Ringuranger or Puroresu Sentai Ringuranger. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing. The only two people who like have any stake in that are you and I know you don't care.
Yeah, no, we're the only one.
Anyway, because a couple of weeks ago, our friend Josh and I went to Monday Night Raw. Last night,
I didn't know Josh went with you.
Oh, yeah. It was super fun. We got weirdly good seats. I mean, obviously there are good seats in there. It's not weird that good seats exist. But for the amount of money that I spent on those seats, they should not have been as good as they were.
Oh, okay, nice.
There's like the front few rows of this one section that goes almost all the way back are just like 2 seats across and like just above the floor level. And so I got these 2 seats, like where we didn't have to deal with elbowing anybody else, like sort of right near the front of, because I feel like you don't really want to be on the floor, because then like it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, no, because you're too level. Flat. You want to be, you want to have the view that the camera has. Like, right, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, like I kind of thought the seats were going to be terrible because I spent like $40 a pop on tickets. You know, like it's Monday Night Raw a few weeks before WrestleMania.
I was going to say that's not no dollars, but right.
But no, they were awesome, and it was a super fun time. There was not as much wrestling in that wrestling show as I wanted there to be, but I kind of realized as we were getting into it, like, oh, right, this is a few weeks before WrestleMania, so people aren't really going to wrestle. They're just going to yell at each other so that we want to watch them wrestle at WrestleMania.
Right, this is like that episode of Raw that you saw is largely a commercial for WrestleMania, is what that was.
Right, I did kind of spend $40 a seat to go watch a live commercial for 3 hours, but it was very fun.
Yeah, and listen, there is a degree in which wrestling is only ever a commercial for itself. And I think if you're going to enjoy wrestling, you just kind of make your peace with that, and you have joy in the commercial. You know?
Listen, that's why they call it a wrestling promotion.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But last night I watched more wrestling. It was NXT TakeOver. And Dave, if you can somehow, like, if you have a night where you can't sleep, or
that's not a thing for me.
Well, okay, if you have a night where you are sort of not allowed to sleep because babies won't sleep, and you're just trying to find something to put on the TV, dude, you watch that NXT TakeOver. I don't want to go like too far into it because it's not necessarily exciting to listen to someone talk about how good a wrestler was, but it was incredible.
Yeah.
And then later on today, I am going to go and spend like, I don't know, maybe 13, 15 hours watching WrestleMania.
Dude, how? Okay,
That
it's
is a joke.
already 2:30. Okay,
long.
I was gonna say it's already 2:30 in the afternoon, and you're not watching it yet. So, how long does WrestleMania go?
Well, the pre-show starts at I think 5, and I believe it ends around midnight.
Oh, that is so very much wrestling.
It's
I did get out.
genuinely way too much.
Well, man, like, okay, so I know if you go to WrestleMania, it's like, it is many dollars to get a seat at WrestleMania, is my understanding.
Yes.
So if you were gonna, and it's like a week-long event, right? Like, you go, and there's all this stuff, and then, like, at the very end of it is WrestleMania.
Okay, weirdly,
And I feel like if you're
the end of it is not WrestleMania. The end of it is the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, which is also like a weirdly huge deal.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. But yeah, I figure if you're laying out that much, man, there better be a whole lot of wrestling going on.
Oh, dude, there is so much wrestling going on whenever and wherever WrestleMania is, because other wrestling promotions are like, well, all the people who love wrestling are going to be in this town on this date. So there is all the WrestleMania stuff. Like, there's always an NXT takeover, and there's Mania itself, and there's the Monday Night Raw afterwards. And then there's like the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and there's like a big thing where like you can go meet the wrestlers if you have tickets to go do it. Like, it's a whole weekend affair.
Right.
But then also...
So wait, so there's... like, everybody else, like, Remora's along with that implacable shark and sort of, like...
Yeah. There's also WrestleCon is that weekend where, like, all of the wrestlers who you want to go meet who aren't WWE wrestlers are at WrestleCon.
Oh, okay. Nice,
and also,
nice.
Ring of Honor did their biggest show of the year, like, this weekend. Like, in New Orleans, like, down the street from where WrestleMania is.
Nice. Hey, Matt, real quickly, did I hear correctly? I thought I saw somewhere on the internet that somebody said something about The Undertaker potentially coming back.
Well,
that can't be true.
John Cena has been yelling at The Undertaker, like saying that he wants to challenge him at WrestleMania. There has been no response from The Undertaker for the, like, 2 months that John Cena's just been, like, going crazy, shouting at nothing in the middle of a ring. But it does feel weird that, like, they would do all that and then not have a match. Like, there's gotta be something, right? Because otherwise, what's going to happen is that John Cena is going to show up to WrestleMania, and he's going to get in a ring, and he's going to wait for a while, and then he's just going to leave.
That, or The Undertaker will get in that ring, and then his body will literally disintegrate.
Yeah, because
that poor man is so old. He has given you so much. Or, Matt, here it is. Maybe they've been long conning us. Maybe John Cena keeps calling out The Undertaker, and Roman Reigns is going to show up, and he's going to put on the hat, and then it's going to be the thing that we wanted it to be.
I would love that, but Roman Reigns does already have a match tonight.
I mean, okay, sure. Anyway,
hey, listen, if that happens, that's the boyhood dream right there.
Right, yeah, that would be incredible.
Anyway, yeah, so that is my life. It's just watching a lot of wrestling right now. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania, and I'm also really looking forward to taking a little bit of a break afterwards. Speaking of breaks, Dave, what is our third star of the week?
So, third star of the week, Matt, is, well, I'm actually ending spring break, and I am going into, speaking of shows that are going to absorb your entire life, I'm going into Tech Week this week. So... it is about to be, man.
So you are going from no work to all work.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, dude, Tech Week is just straight up. It's just a week and a half. Well, not a week. It's 6 days of like 13-hour days, 14-hour days. Just 6 of them in a row. And so it's just...
what I'm hearing is you're not going to have time to catch up on NXT TakeOver anytime this week.
Yeah, no, I am not. I am not going to have time. And, well, I did literally almost laugh out loud when you said, if there's nights you can't sleep. That's Dave, just not...
Dave, here's some extra incentive. Your best friend was at NXT TakeOver.
Oh, was he there? My very best friend with who I hang out all the time?
EC3. To new listeners, there is a professional wrestler with whom Dave used to wait tables.
Yeah, we were not friends. I just he's a nice guy, but he disappeared. Like, he left the job that we both worked at, and he was like, I'm gonna go be a wrestler. And I was like, sure. Like, he is a very large, handsome man, but the world is full of large, handsome men. And I was like, cool, dude. See you again? Never. And sure enough, that dude is a professional wrestler of
He was in a ladder match
incredible
last night.
renown, but
it was super good.
Anyway, but he's on NXT, so that's great, man. I love it when people live their dreams. That's super rad. So anyways, yeah, dude, I'm going into Tech Week, and my whole life is exploding. It's just so much. It's like 6 hours of rehearsal a night just to get this show ready. And we're doing a show called Noises Off. And it is the most, it's just the most technically challenging show I've ever done. Because what it is it's a show about actors doing a show, right?
Okay.
But the show that they're doing, so the actual play is called Noises Off. The play within a play is called Nothing On. With me so far? Great.
Okay, sure.
So the actors that are performing the play Nothing On are very bad. And
okay.
And their whole play is disintegrating. And that's the humor of the show, is that you're sort of seeing backstage everything that's happening, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So what happens is, in the second act of the play, the entire set has to be built so it spins. Okay?
All right.
So the first act,
because
you're looking
you need
at
to have the set for both plays, the play and the play within the play.
Right. And so the play within the play spins. So you, the audience, are looking at the backstage portion of the set for Nothing On, okay? And the play, Nothing On, is happening, but you can't see it happening. It's happening, backstage, and you are looking at everything that the actors are doing on their quote-unquote backstage, right?
Okay.
Okay, but here's the deal. Everything that is happening that you are seeing, they can't be saying anything because they're backstage at their show. So you can't talk because then the fake audience would hear you, right?
Right.
So the second act of this play is just a half an hour of silent slapstick that has to be timed perfectly and coordinated with lines that are happening where the audience cannot see them, but they can hear them, okay?
Okay.
But the people that are saying the lines still have to be doing stuff, so they can't see what everyone else is doing. So they're just saying their lines kind of blind and hoping that everything else is happening like clockwork backstage, except it's not actually backstage. It's because you, the audience, can see it.
Okay.
It's insane. The prop list for this show is 6 pages long. It's bananas.
This sounds like the tech portion of this Tech Week is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot. But man, my technical director, he's amazing. The whole set spins. It's incredible. You'll come see it. You always come see it. But I think it's going to be a good show. I desperately hope. It's going to be a good show. It's a lot. Just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right, man. Well, what is our fourth star of the week?
So our fourth star of the week, Matt, is I had a realization about being old.
Okay.
I guess, you know what I mean? And the realization, I periodically have these realizations. Listen, if you are a young person, you also will have these realizations.
Yeah,
I hope that someday you have these realizations.
It is the process of aging.
It is the process, yeah.
I suspect that I will not stop having realizations about, changes in life as my life continues to change.
Yeah, and it's just the specific realization that I'm thinking about are all the things that your parents wanted you to do as a kid or a teenager, and then you got into your 20s and you're like, ugh, I'm not like gonna bother with that. And then as you get older, you're like, oh no, now I get it, mom and dad. And the answer is cleaning, just like having everything clean. Because I took, like, listen, man, Beth is home all day working with the twins, right?
Right.
And I am at work all day working, and then I come home, and then we are both working with the twins, who absorb your entire universe.
Yes.
And so, like, there's just a lot of things that we don't get done as promptly as we would like to get them done, right?
Yeah, dude, I hear you.
Yeah, and one of those things was just, like, laundry. We just didn't, you've got enough clothes, like, you've got enough clothes to wear, and they're clean, and so everything else is just piling up because you're, like, just desperately paddling to keep your head above water. And I had a few days off of work, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do all of it. I'm just gonna do all the laundry. All of our laundry, all the baby's laundry, all the laundry. Just doing it all. And I got it all done. And it was all like folded and it was all put away. And it's like I felt a little bit high when I'm not joking, when I like walked into our room. I was like slightly delirious. There's nothing on the floor. Yeah, there's nothing on the floor. Everything is clean and folded away. And like, guys, listen. If you are in a space in your life, like, just crush it. Crush it. If you are in a space in your life where you're like, like, how much better? Like, I'm not going to bother just laundry and piles on the floor. Guys, just do yourself a favor. Just fold the laundry. Fold the laundry. Put it away. You have no idea how good it feels to look at a completely clean floor.
Oh, absolutely. I think I've brought it up on the show before, but I was listening to a podcast a few years ago where they were talking about playing video games and how so much of playing video games is just like virtually washing the dishes.
Yeah. Stop doing video game washing the dishes.
And just actually wash the dishes. Because you'll be accomplished and your dishes will be clean. I mean, listen, I'm currently playing Far Cry 5. That is one of the ultimate, like, this is just cleaning the dishes sort of games. Like, you got to collect stuff and like, it's just a big virtual checklist that you pay $60 for, and like work your way through for a few weeks. But it is satisfying and very fun. But yeah, I totally hear you, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was my whole thing. Like, I'm just so like, I don't even have jokes about it. I'm just so excited to have caught up on like basic human living that I wanted to yell it into the void of the internet. So, thanks for listening, guys. I'm just excited. What, Matt, is our fifth star of the week?
Fifth star of the week. This is a short one, a short but sweet one, which is good because I think we dragged on way too long earlier in the 5 stars. Earlier this week, I got a sort of letter and gift package from a listener, Alex, who like asked, hey, like, can I send you a thing? And he did. They are these magnets that he made out of, when you like, I don't remember the name for it. Like, you get a bunch of like plastic beads and you put them in a design and then you sort of like fuse them together.
Perler beads, Matt.
Yes. Okay. Those things. He made 3 magnets of those things that are the 3 Stooges, like the heads of the 3 Stooges from Ranger.
Yeah, they're astonishingly cool.
I've got a picture of them. I will post the picture when we put this episode up. They are amazing.
They're super rad. I haven't seen them in person yet, but I saw the picture. Alex, they're amazing. Yeah,
so, and they'd also send it with a very, very nice letter, which I will not go into here because that's just for us. But... so I just wanted to take this moment to say, hey, Alex, thank you. That was amazing. I don't have any jokes about it. I was just it was very sweet, and I liked getting it. That's all. And with that, Dave, we are going to go watch episode 20 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back. So we have just finished watching Episode 20 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, The Iron Fist 100 Bursts, which, once again, is a choice title.
Yeah, it is. Also, I am really glad, after having watched this episode, I feel really glad that we did our episode of Puro Resto Sentai Ringuranger before we watched this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, I would have felt like we were really...
just ripping stuff off.
Ripping stuff straight off because there are a weird number of similarities, actually.
Yeah, I that is another reason I wanted to bring it up in the 5 stars earlier this week, or earlier in the episode rather, just to sort of get ahead of the fact that like that was a thing we made up before, and this is what we are watching now.
Yeah. So the episode starts actually with Bull Don't.
Yes.
And I don't know if I noticed myself doing this, Matt, so I hate Prince Bull Don't. We've covered that before.
Sure.
And so when I write his name out, I put an apostrophe between the N and the T. Like Bull Don't.
Like just cut it out.
And I didn't notice that I was doing it until I did it. And then because he's the worst. But anyways, what we see is Bull Don't boxing, which is hilarious because Bull Don't is essentially a sphere with feet and arms. Like he doesn't have legs, he just has feet, and he just sort of like waddles.
Right,
sort
and he's
like
very short.
Yeah, like a robotic penguin, but with a dog face.
Yeah, and a crown. And
a crown and a cape, and anyways.
And so he is trying to box, but he is in this ring. The ring ropes, by the way, are chains.
Yep.
And in the ring with him are 3 Bara fighters, or Bara soldiers. The putties.
I don't remember. Putties, yeah. Whatever.
And he's boxing them, but like he is so much shorter than all of them that for them to be able to do it, they're like crouched down and just sort of like kind of trying to throw jabs at him. But his arms are very short, so he really can't hit them either. It's a comical scene.
Yeah, it is. And then we see Hysteria, like Empress Hysteria is off in the corner, sort of like she's coaching him, I guess, except she doesn't seem to know anything about boxing either.
Yeah, none of them actually know anything about boxing. Acha and Kocha are also there. They are wearing boxing gloves.
Yeah, which in the case of Kocha is incredible because he also doesn't have arms, so it's just a tiny robot with gloves stuck onto the side of them.
Yeah, just like tied to his shoulders.
Yeah, so after Bacchus Wrath shows up, and I love Bacchus Wrath because anytime he walks in on someone doing something, his immediate declaration is that, like, what, and it doesn't matter what they're doing, it's always dumb. He's like, well, this is stupid. What are you doing? Like, why are you wasting? It doesn't, every time he walks in on someone doing anything, the first thing he does is berate them for doing it, which is incredible. And he's like, why are you, like, what is going on? Why are you boxing?
Like, why are you playing around? We finally defeated O-Robo, and now we have to deal with Red Puncher. Like, we are in a pickle here, and you guys are just like, playing. Stop it. Like, stop it and get back to work.
And so Bull says, no, we're not, because Red Puncher is a boxer, and I am learning to box, so I don't know why this is important. But, like, I am learning to box so that I can create the ultimate boxing robot, Bara Puncher.
Yes. Okay. Now, here's a few things about this scene. First of all, when Emperor Bacchus Wrath is berating Buldone's actual response is to say that, how dare you not understand my feelings? You are no longer my father.
Yeah, which seems like a weird, that's like a weirdly intense jump. And then also, robots aren't allowed to have like, didn't they destroy a number of robots for having feelings?
Yeah,
Isn't
I also
that like
have this in my
it's
notes.
like the premise of like an entire couple episodes?
Yeah, maybe they have realized that, like, okay, some robots just got emotions, and there are now categories of emotions that they are allowing to be legal, like hatred and boxing are okay emotions. Love is not.
Right. Well, boxing's not an emotion, Matt.
Well,
yeah.
Dave, for a robot, maybe it is. There's a lot of boxing. Dave, if there's any one episode of a Sentai show that's going to prove otherwise and show us that boxing is an emotion, it is this one.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a very good point. So we pop down to the world, and we see Shohei is just running. And he kind of comes around a corner in this, like, industrial yard, and Prince Bulldont has a kid whose name is Mikio, who we've never met before. But so he has a kid, and Joey's like, let that kid go. And Bulldont says, I will let him go if you fight my boy over here, Bara Puncher.
Bara Boxer.
Bara Puncher, Bara Boxer.
Yeah. Bara Boxer. Okay, remember last week what we said about how Power Slam Wolf looked? Like, he was a monster from space, but he was wearing a championship belt and, like, boots. That's basically this dude, except he's not a wolf.
Yeah, he has. It's a very, very cool look. He is like, it looks like just a human torso, but it's clearly meant to be robotic. And then he's got like one kind of giant laser eye, which is rad. Mm-hmm. And then he has huge boxing gloves for hands. But then he is wearing like trunks and a belt and just boxing boots, I guess.
Yeah, he's got sort of like these chains hanging down from his head that don't seem to be attached to the rest of his look, but there they are.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good look.
And so Shohei's like, okay, I'm a boxer. I'll box this guy. And so he transforms into O Green, and they just start boxing. And Shohei is doing a good job. Like,
yeah,
because Shohei's a very good boxer. Now, the problem is that apparently, like, when they say you must box Bara Boxer, Bara Boxer thinks that boxing includes sometimes hitting people with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, he does do that. It very definitely does not involve that thing. And so when he busts out the sledgehammer, Shohei is not prepared for that, and then things go bad for him very quickly. And as they're, like they kind of go back and forth, and like Shohei's losing, and he's like, all right then, I'll use my flying punch. Which, have we seen him do flying punch before, Matt?
I don't know if we have, because I don't
recall having seen it, but the way that they talk about it makes it seem as though like, oh man, Shohei's flying punch, like here it comes, everybody's favorite moment of every episode when Shohei busts it out. I don't think we've ever seen it before.
Well, because, okay, here's the thing that we will learn about Flying Punch, is that Flying Punch is one of Shohei's, like, special techniques. But it is not the special technique of Shohei, like, who is
O Green.
It is the special technique of Shohei, the boxer.
Yeah. So Flying Punch is it's a fly. He just jumps up and forward at you and punches
he does
it. Oh yeah, there's a flip, which doesn't seem like it would add anything, but he does it.
And this is a devastating maneuver.
Yeah, he nails Bara Puncher real bad. But when he lands, he has like broken his hand.
Yeah,
which seems like a very bad special move.
Well, Dave, it's got too much power. It's too dangerous.
Yeah. Well, that still makes it a bad like. You can say that, but if it is in fact true and doing the move breaks your hand, it still makes it a very bad special move.
Yeah. I mean, listen. It's not his best move. I don't know why he didn't use any of his other very good finishing moves that use his, like, superpowers.
Right. Or also maybe his, like, lightning tonfas or... No, he's got the axes. His axes.
He was challenged to a boxing match. He's only going to use his boxing moves. This is his boxing finishing move.
So he's like on the ground, he unhensions, and his fist is broken, and he's upset about this, obviously. And they're gonna move in for the kill, the Baranoia is, and then the other Rangers show up and sort of help him out.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a quick thing, is when he goes to do Flying Punch, Bulldown says, "Oh yeah, like yes, that's what I was waiting for." So clearly he has, like, there's something else going on regarding Flying Punch and Prince Bulldown and Shohei and Bara Puncher and all this stuff.
So the other Rangers all show up and they get into a big fight with all the dudes. And then a lot earlier in the episode than I was anticipating, Acha and Kocha make Bara Boxer grow.
Dude, I was so into that. Like, yes, just go for it, man. Like, there's not a set of circumstances that you have to fulfill before you're allowed to go giant. There isn't like a Geneva Convention of Intergalactic, robot conquerors. Like, I don't know why you don't just go giant step one. Like, show up, go giant, wreck things. Whatever, I don't know. But he does. Bara Puncher just goes giant automatically. Like, that's the very first thing he does.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
And then it is time to dispatch the Red Puncher. Dave, this is the first time we've seen Red Puncher come to the fight when he's not like digging himself out of a valley.
Dude, I'm so impossibly into this. I can't even explain.
So much.
So here is how Red Puncher arrives to a fight. The mountainside opens, and then a giant cannon comes out of it. and they just launch Red Puncher out of a cannon, presumably with like the exact trajectory that he needs to land wherever it is they want him to land. And then you see a shot of him. He's like arms out, Superman flying, but also like tornado spinning for a reason I don't fully understand. Yeah, he's like corkscrew spinning. It looks amazing.
The barrel is rifled. He's, that's just what happens when you get shot out of a rifled barrel.
Oh, well, Matt, I hadn't thought about that, but it makes a ton of sense.
And neither had I until I was trying to figure out a reason to justify it.
So, he kind of like is corkscrewing, spiraling towards the enemy, and then he sort of like does a flip and lands on his feet and is ready to go.
Okay, here's what I love about this. Everything. Here's something that I specifically love about this, is that, do you remember the whole point of the first Red Puncher episode, which is that Red Puncher had been buried for years because the chief, did not want to acknowledge its existence and was trying to, hide it from everyone because it had, a tragic history?
Yes, I do remember that thing.
So that means that one of two things happened, Dave. Either all of that stuff happened, and then the chief went ahead and built a Red Puncher cannon and hid it in the base anyway, just in case, or in the course, from the last episode to this one, they have designed, built, and installed a huge cannon that is large enough to shoot a building-sized robot halfway across Japan.
Matt, really either version of that is almost too beautiful for words. So yeah. I think I'm going to give the edge towards having already built the cannon. I can't quite explain why, but I think I do like it better.
Yeah, but then remember, he would have had to have done it in secret because no one knew about Red Puncher, and somebody would have asked why they had that cannon that was labeled Red Puncher Launcher.
Maybe that's why I like it better. I really like the idea of Chief managing to hide a cannon that itself is large enough to shoot a building-sized robot.
And so, during the week, his real job is working on the main robots. But on the weekend, his hobby project, in his garage, he's building a hot rod. That is the Red Launcher or the Red Cannon, the Red Puncher Cannon Launcher. I don't know if this thing has
Red Puncher Cannon Launcher. The punch cannon.
Hey, punch cannon is also super good.
Yeah, punch cannon actually is pretty good. After I said it, so Red Puncher arrives and the fight is joined in earnest. So now, one of the weird things about Red Puncher though is anytime Red Puncher is on the scene, Red Puncher is only piloted by O-Red. Yeah. Everybody else is just chilling.
Yeah, well, they're also cheering him on.
Well, yeah, but it is a little bit there is a giant robot, but only one person is involved. It's just kind of strange. So anyways, so now it's Barra Puncher versus Red Puncher.
Barra Boxer.
And Barra Boxer, sorry. I keep flipping back and forth. He punches, he boxes, he's Barra.
Listen, the red one punches, the Barra one boxes. It's very easy.
So, thank you, Matt. Well, Barra Boxer is alliterative, so there you go. So Barra Boxer and Red Puncher are fighting in earnest now. And it is a very good, I would say probably the best giant robot fight, not only of Ohranger, but that I actually can remember are in this episode.
There are very good fights. I think what is fun about watching Red Puncher is that he moves a little more quickly. Sort of like if you remember the Tetra Boy episodes of Jetman.
Yes.
Red Puncher just he moves with some hustle. And it's a different pace than you're used to in these fights.
Yeah, I dig it. But they're fighting, they go back and forth for a little bit, and Barra Boxer busts out Flying Punch. Because it turns out this is why Prince Bulldog was excited, is he needed Barra Boxer to see the Flying Punch so that he himself, Barra Boxer, could do Flying Punch, which he unleashes on Red Puncher and takes him down.
Yeah.
Red Puncher eats it.
Barra Boxer takes him down. And what's great about this is that Red Puncher goes down, but Barra Boxer's hand is totally destroyed. So it's not just that like Shohei messed up the flying punch. It's that that technique is so devastating that you have to break your hand when you do it, no matter if you are person-sized or giant robot-sized.
Yeah, no, just in case you're thinking about it, I was really assuming that like that was somehow going to come back and be like, they would figure out how to exploit the weakness of flying punch, that like it always breaks your hand, that like blah, blah, blah. No. Like, that's not the case at all. Like, literally, it's just using flying punch breaks your hand. It broke Shohei's hand. It broke Boxer's hand. That's it. Like, there is no further story element to that, now, except for the fact that Shohei now has a broken hand.
Right. And what is inconvenient is that Boxer's hand is easily repaired because he is a robot.
Yes. Yeah. He's fine. And actually, not only... okay, can we talk about this now, Matt, or do you want to wait?
About how he gets powered up.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. So let's just talk about it now. Very briefly.
It's the next scene, I think. We go up to the moon.
There's some stuff that happens in between, but it's okay.
We go up to the moon, and they are like, "Yeah, we did it. Not only have we defeated Ohranger Robo, but we have also defeated Red Puncher. Both of them are destroyed forever and will never be repaired, obviously. And Boxer is the one who did it.
Just real quickly, which they say, as they are themselves repairing their own giant robot.
Yeah, they're like, now fix this robot. And also, we need to power him up so that we don't have to worry about his hand getting broken by the power of flying punch anymore.
Right. So what they do is and you see, it's a really cool shot, actually. You see them like pulling it up on cranes. They have just crafted giant metal overgloves for his like boxing glove hands that just have giant spikes on them.
Listen, Dave, if you want to display that someone is more powerful, you add spikes. I think this was what happened last episode, isn't it?
Yeah, if the more powerful you are, the more spikes you have. This
is clear.
Yeah. So there's a joke about like 90s punk kids in there that I'm missing, but it's you fill that one. That's a fill in the blank joke. You can put that one in yourself.
That's a choose your own adventure, friends.
So anyways, so what we see is, we're back at the base, and we see like Shohei's like really upset because they're working on fixing Red Puncher and Robo. And Shohei's really upset. He's like, oh man, like now I can't do anything because my hand's broken. What are we going to do?
Yeah, and plus, this is all my fault because I showed him the power of flying punch.
Right. Like, what are we going to do? And yeah, so Goro jumps in and he says, listen, like, don't feel bad. If I were you and I knew giant flying punch, like, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. And everyone else gives them like affirmative nods. Like, yes, you are good, Shohei. Do not feel badly about this.
Dude, it is the first... it was so frequent in this episode, the number of wordless nod exchanges that happens. It's like 6 different times. There's an entire quote-unquote conversation that happens with just camera pan, like smash cuts back and forth, just 2 or 3 people just nodding at each other, and then everybody goes and like does whatever it was they were going to do.
Well, listen, Dave, as we've already said, boxing is an emotion. And sometimes, there are sort of standard ways to convey certain emotions. When you're happy, you smile. When you're sad, you frown. And when you are boxing, you nod wordlessly.
Yeah. So the next scene that we see is of a boxing gym. Okay. And it's outside, and we see Shohei run into it. And then we see an old man who I am affectionately referring to as Grandpa Grimace because he has one facial expression. And it is a grimace.
The show, the only thing that Shohei calls him is Pops.
Yes. Which, listen, if you are an old man and you train boxing, I think that is everybody, like, that is just what you are called.
Right. I have I do not think that this man is Shohei's father. I don't think they are related in any way. But he
No. Just all...
That is his boxing coach name.
Old,
that is the
exactly,
boxing coach name.
Precisely. So he goes in and, like... And it's Mr. Izawasha, I think. I don't quite remember.
I don't know. He's genuinely just Pops all throughout my notes.
Yeah. So Shohei walks in and he's like, Pops, you got to help me. And Pops is like, get out of here, Shohei. You left us and like you never had what it took to be a boxer.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to help you because you quit the gym, and also because you used the flying fist. I warned you against it. It's too dangerous.
Which again, he's 100% right. Like that is a very, very bad special move. And so the kid runs in, Mikio, from earlier on in the episode, and it turns out Mikio is Pops' actual grandson.
Yeah.
And he says, Grandpa, like, don't you get it? And Shohei just has to leave. Like, he kind of runs out, I think, at this point. Mm-hmm. And Mikio says, hey, like, he quit the boxing gym to join Ohranger. Right. Like, to go be a literal superhero who's saving the whole planet on, like, a very regular basis.
And the only reason he got hurt was, like, trying to save my life.
So, like... And then Grandpa Grimace doesn't say anything because boxing doesn't use words.
Oh, no, he does say something, Dave. He says no kids allowed in the gym.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then he just... so then the other Rangers show up, and they're like...
We then cut to where Shohei is, because Shohei is sulking. And
that's
Mikio
right.
runs up to him, and he's like, hey, like, do you remember when you first came to the gym? And like first started training with us, and we see a flashback of Shohei training. And basically what Mikio is saying about Shohei is like, you are like Rocky Balboa. Like,
yeah,
like you can get hit a lot of times and keep going because like you have the heart of a champion. And if you just trained your punches, you would be very, very good. You know, like you can't let this one keep you down. Nothing keeps you down. You're Shohei. All that sort of stuff.
Right, and like even Pop said it, like he said that like you would be so good, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah. And then the rest of the Rangers show up and Goro is like, Shohei, like, train me.
Right. So I guess the logic that they say very briefly, but mostly allude to, is that for some reason they feel that because Bara Boxer is a boxer. Oh, no. This is what it is. Goro says, Red Puncher is a boxer through, like, at Red Puncher's heart, he is a boxer.
Right.
And, like, I now realize that, like, I'm not utilizing him to his fullest potential. Like, I am not allowing Red Puncher to express his own, like, champion's heart because I don't know how to box. So, like, we're not in sync.
Yeah, so if
like,
you
Goro,
train me to
Goro
box,
and Red Puncher.
Like,
then I will.
Yeah, and then we can like beat Bara Boxer this way, like with me learning, like me using your punches in Red Puncher can outbox Bara Boxer.
Yeah, like we'll do it. And Shohei's like, yes. And then he also has a line that he says like, with this fist, I will gain vengeance or something like that. Did you write this down?
He said he was going to pay him back with this very fist, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. Sorry. So, Matt, full disclosure, I was watching this episode while I was also being a living jungle gym for two small babies. Mm-hmm. And so my notes are very scattered and very sparse. So I'm just doing my best.
It's okay, man. That is what you got me here for.
Okay. So the next scene we see is Goro and Shohei, and they are in a park, and Shohei has like a catching, like a, you know, like one of the padded gloves that you punch into that like the trainer wears. I'm sure they've got a name, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But he's only got one, of course, because
his other hand is
broken. Yeah. And Goro is trying to punch, and he's very bad at it.
Yeah,
like he's very, very bad.
Missing, which is weird because I know Goro can punch. We've watched him do it for 19 episodes before this one. But he was doing, those are karate punches, and these are boxing punches. And
man, I feel like they are probably not that different.
Hey, listen, apparently they are.
Apparently they're very, very different.
So Shohei is giving him tips. So, you know, like move your hips this way, like sort of like put your weight into it in this way. And they're kind of making progress, but like it's not going super well. And at one point, Goro like fully misses the catching mitt and like throws it, like overextends himself and falls over.
Yeah. Well, what we are finding out is that Goro, although he is Shohei, although he is himself a pretty good boxer, is a very bad boxing coach.
Yeah. Which the end of this episode tries to like forget a little bit.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think that when that happens, it's everyone being nice to Shohei because he hurt his hand.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case.
So while this is happening, the other Rangers and the little kids, who, by the way, we have been talking about it as though there is one little kid. There are two little kids, but I can't remember which one of them does which. And the episode would be functionally the same if they were the same person. So I'm just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, and also the second kid just shows up out of nowhere. Like, they never explain why he is there. I don't think they ever give him a name either. So
I don't know, man. Like, both of those kids are now Mikio. It's fine.
Yeah, it was very strange.
So the Mikio Gestalt and the other Rangers are watching this training happen. And as they're doing this, Pops rolls up. He just, like, walks out from behind a couple of trees and is like, they're boxing bad.
Yeah, he's very annoyed about it.
And everyone's like, yeah, they are boxing bad. You are a boxing coach. Please help us.
Yeah, could you maybe please? So he's like, fine.
Yeah, and, like, clearly that is what he came here to do, but he is acting as though he is doing it grudgingly.
Right, yeah. So he just Goro again kind of misses and overextends himself and tumbles to the ground. And finally Pop's like, all right, he doesn't say this, but you can tell his grimace shifts a little bit. It's a slightly new style of grimace. And he, like, walks over and he sort of picks Shohei up / throws him out of the way. And he puts the glove on, and then he sort of starts, working with Goro.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to learn boxing, all you got to do is punch somebody's hand for an afternoon.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, I imagine you would probably be at least marginally better at boxing.
Yeah. So they do this for a while, and then, okay, so Goro falls down again, and not in so many words, but Pops goes to, like, pick Goro up. And he says it sort of, like, under his breath so Shohei can't hear him. But what he communicates to him, and I apologize for not remembering the line, is like, listen, first of all, you need to beat this monster. But second of all, like, do this for Shohei, because, like, he really needs this right now. Like,
yeah, like, he feels real bad about having boofed it. And if you can win sort of with his, like, help, then he will feel okay about it.
Yeah. And I really like that about this episode, because, like, a lot of this episode is just like, yeah, Shohei is doing his best, but he hurts himself and he kind of messes up. And the whole rest of the episode is not just people, like, fighting a monster, but also just, like, quietly supporting their friend. It's really nice.
It is nice, because I was just thinking in this episode that I don't have a real great sense of character for almost any of these Rangers, even as much, like, not only is it not really at, like, the high water mark of Jetman, but even as, like, Kakuranger, I felt like had a little bit more, like, who these people are individually. And, hopefully we'll get more of that later. But then we get the best scene in this episode, because if you think about it, Matt, it's not so much that Goro needs to train his boxing up. It's that Goro and Red Puncher together need to train their boxing up. And so how are you going to do that? Well, you've got to practice, Matt.
And Dave, what's the one way that you practice boxing?
You got to box. You got to punch something in the hand for an afternoon. But what's big enough? Only O-Robo. So what we get is now, okay, so first of all, the Ohranger base has constructed a giant boxing ring, presumably expressly for this purpose. And they have also created a giant, like, punchy glove for O-Robo to wear as he practices with Red Puncher, who is doing the punching.
And the other thing that is so good about this is that this means that Ohranger Robo is functional again. Like, he's in the ring. He's doing, like, it's a fake fight, but it is a fight.
Right. So they could just end this whole problem.
Yeah, they could just send 2 robots out to beat this thing up. But that's not the plan. The plan is boxing.
Right. Okay. So as they are practicing, they get an alert like, "Hey, Bara Boxer is like he's out. He's wreaking havoc. Like you gotta go make this happen." So.
I'm sorry. There is one thing that I wanted. I wrote it in a actual sidebar in my notes here, and I wanted to say it before we moved on because I didn't want to forget. During this sequence, when they are practicing boxing, there is a theme song that is like a boxing montage pump up song, right, in the background. Yes. But it is like a boxing montage pump up song version of the opening theme song to Ohranger. Like they just just arranged the song differently to make it communicate something else. It's great.
Yeah. It does have a very Rocky-esque feel to it.
Rocky 4 specifically.
Oh, thank you. So then we get the alert and they're like, Bara Boxer's going crazy, gotta go deal with it. So they all, I guess everybody else just rides out. They do launch Red Puncher though. So
listen, if you have a punch cannon, you gotta use it.
That's a very good point. So Bara Boxer's there, Red Puncher lands, Prince Bulldont says like, all right, like here's how it's gonna be, like you guys are gonna box, I guess winner take all, and the Rangers are like, all right, sure. Like I don't know why they agree to that, but they do. So then okay, like they don't launch them out of missile silos on the moon, but they do they just like launch some turnbuckles, and then they create energy like between the turnbuckles, and then that energy solidifies into ropes, and they do create a giant ring, just like we talked about in Puro Sentai Ringuranger.
They call it the Ring of Hell.
Like it's called the Ring of Hell, which we did not think of, and points to you, Ohranger. But when it actually happened in literally almost the exact way that we described how it would happen if it were going to happen, I felt very good about this show and about us, Matt.
I felt super justified. In my notes, I just like, this is Ringuranger? Like, what happened here? Did we somehow will this into existence?
So, and then the fight's on, man. Yeah. So it's Red Puncher versus Bara Boxer, and they are boxing.
Yeah. So
and this, I think...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mentioned it earlier, and it was kind of in reference to the earlier fight, but mainly this one. I think this is probably the best giant robot fight maybe in any episode of Sentai that we've seen so far. It's very, very good.
I think we may be, they have a bit of a recency bias, but I do think it is very, very good. And also, interesting in a way that giant robot fights normally aren't.
Yeah, because it's like a full-on boxing match, and we're getting, cool camera angles, because there's a lot of, getting inside and underneath, and, body blows from Red Puncher. It's just a really good fight.
The ring is electrified, which is why it is the Ring of Hell.
Well, yeah.
And there keep being bits where a Bara Boxer plus Prince Bulldog are kind of cheating. The rings are electrified. Bara Boxer does a big spray spit attack in the face of Red Puncher, which is something that that is a professional wrestling thing that happens. There was a wrestler named the Great Muda, a Japanese guy who did that specifically. He had a poison spray attack where he would just spit out this mist at you.
Oh, one of the things I really dig is that Pops, as they are pulling these dirty tricks, Pops is yelling "Hey, that's a dirty trick. That's not boxing." Pops, this is not a boxing federation approved match, dude. These are two giant robots that are slugging it out in an electrified Ring of Hell. It's not gonna go according to the rules.
Yeah. So, but they are trying to even out the fight, and so the other Rangers, because they are of course not helping to pilot Red Puncher, they run over to where Prince Bulldont is, and they get in a fight with all the dudes who are on the ground in a way to get him away from this control panel, and then eventually Momo is able to break it.
Yeah, well, because what we find, I think what the idea is, because we never see Bara Boxer get like get electrified. So I think they're sort of like turning the electricity, like you said, they're cheating. They're turning the electricity like on and off in a way to, to like skew the results of this fight.
Mm-hmm. But when Momo destroys the control panel, the whole thing sort of like turns into energy and disappears. So now they're just like out in a field boxing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And then so once they are just out in a field, so it was really skewing Bar Boxer. Once they're out in a field, then the fight kind of tilts Red Puncher's way.
Mm-hmm. In an attempt to sort of get back into the fight, however, Bara Boxer pulls out the flying punch. And this is like the one moment of this episode that I wanted to be better. Like, in general, I really like this episode, but I feel like this is a sort of missed opportunity, because what happens is he throws flying punch, but, like, Red Puncher just blocks it. Like,
yeah.
Like, because they know that flying punch is going to come, and I'm sure that, like, Shohei said, hey, if somebody throws flying punch at you, this is how you block it. But it's a very anticlimactic moment for something that was such a big deal early in the show.
Yeah. But he does. He basically just blocks it. And then, like, once Bara Boxer kind of shoots that shot, it's basically over. And then Red Puncher, like, he gets inside and delivers body blows until Bara Boxer can't handle it, and then he finishes him off.
Oh, he does. Goro does say, Shohei, like, watch me defeat him with the punches you taught me.
Oh, yeah, that was a great moment.
There's also another theme song in here. It is the Red Puncher theme song, and it is a straight-up jam.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't, like, unfortunately, it was a lot of fun to watch, but just to talk about, it's like, well, he punches him a lot, and then Bara Boxer goes down. Like, that's pretty much...
He does have a finishing move that's sort of that same, like, corkscrew shot from when he was being fired from the cannon. I think it was called Mega Punch, maybe?
That sounds familiar, but I did not write it down.
I did write down Mega Punch, but I was not confident in what I had read. But that's it. Bara Boxer goes down. Shohei runs over to Goro, and, like, he is thanking him, but it is not just the, like... There is a significance to this that goes beyond, like, hey, thanks for destroying that robot. It's like, thank you for helping me restore my feelings and also defending the honor of boxing or something.
Yeah.
And then Pops is there, and Chief walks over and says, like, well, the friendship between Goro and Shohei... And, like, the respect given by... He says Pops' name, which I think is the first time in the episode that anyone calls him, like, by a real name. So I did not write it down. But he says, like, all of these things are great gifts to Red Puncher. Which is, I guess, maybe true. I mean, listen, he built Red Puncher. He probably knows how Red Puncher feels about stuff.
Yeah, well, again, man, there is a lot of, in all the Sentai shows, really... even when it doesn't necessarily make sense, there is a lot of, like, talking about and dealing with the giant robots as though they are sentient.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, doesn't totally make sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah, sometimes it does, because sometimes they actually are. Like, in Ranger, it makes total sense. In Ohranger, it makes a lot less sense, but it is still, like, it's just a trope of the show. It's just, we're dealing with it. It's cool. And that's it. That is the end of this episode. It is not, however, Dave, the end of our episode, because first, before we go anywhere, we need to determine how Bara Boxer fares in the Creature Royale.
Yeah. So, Bara Boxer is fun, but not amazing. I like his giant spike fists. Like, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I like that he just that he steals Shohei's secret move from him. I thought that was a neat, like, element of it. Beyond that, and he looks very, very cool. Like, he's got a very cool look. Yeah. But he doesn't have, like, much of a personality. So automatically, like, he's only ever going to get so high just because he doesn't, like, all the best monsters, I feel, are monsters that have a little bit of character to them, and Barra Boxer just doesn't have that.
Yeah, so the absolute ceiling for him, I think, would be the other monster that steals moves, and that is, oh gosh, what's his name? The move-stealing ninja monkey.
Oh, Surigami.
Surigami, thank you. So where is Surigami? Because we should look at that and then sort of like go down from there.
Surigami the Ninja Monkey is at slot number 39.
Okay, he's not going that high.
Yeah, no way is he going that high. So I mean, I think you're right as a thing there. So like I'm down on the list, man, and like I'm looking at Purse Monk, who has sick dunks. Like I don't like him as much as I like Purse Monk. Because here's the thing, Matt. Like at this point, this list is full of some very, very good monsters.
It really is. So whenever we get to one of these, like, okay, where is the spot on our list for people who are in a good episode and there's nothing wrong with them? They are actually kind of cool, but there's not a lot to them.
Dude, straight up, those those monsters are down in like the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, well, because like, dude, okay, Barra Vanish is 74, and then Tofu Hermit is a great episode from Ranger with Drunken Boxing. Dude, I would be honest, like, because once you get down into the 90s, like Mujina, the crazy manga artist, is number 89.
Yeah, and that guy is very weird, but like at least super memorable.
Yeah, so who
is Bara Missler? Remind me of this.
Well, he's a giant robot and he's got missiles. He was a pretty early on episode, if I recall correctly. But yeah, like again, so Bara Boxer is better than Bara Missler. But I don't know if he's cooler than... I don't think he's cooler than Azuki-Arai, the Beanwasher. Azuki-Arai, the Beanwasher, had like a whole crazy traps cave dungeon thing under a police station.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah. And then right above him is Vacuum Dimension, Tengu, Amano Jaku, Leech Drill. I hated Leech Drill. How is Leech Drill higher than Azuki-Arai? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, Leech Drill was cool because he shrank, and they made...
yeah. No, that's it. That's why he's
inside of Chief.
That is actually why. Yes, that is exactly why he's in there. But actually, as I'm thinking about it, I feel like I already nailed it, man. He's better than Bara Missler, but not better than Azuki-Arai.
Okay, so that makes him our new number, what, 99?
Number 99, staying in that top 100.
Yeah. I mean, most of our dudes are in the top 100. This list only goes down to 127.
Yeah, well, okay. But,
But still.
So anyways, Matt, that is going to do it for us.
Yes, that is going to do it for another episode of For Your Eyes, Ohranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all that you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you find the show. The Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. To listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do that all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we're the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.